Welcome back. Negative commandment number 6. Let's look inside. It is a negative commandment to do no work on the Sabbath. As scripture says, you shall not do any work. We'll redefine that shortly. The sages of blessed memory listed 39 major primary kinds of labor, kinds of forbidden labor, which are taught in the 7th chapter of the Talmud tractate Shabbat. For any of the primary labors, and so for any of their derivative kinds, the punishment deserved is death by stoning. If it was done deliberately, but there was no prior warning, the penalty is kares, divine severance of existence. And if it was done unwittingly, a chatas, a sin offering, would be required. The difference between primary kinds of labor and the derivatives is only in regard to the number of animal offerings required. The punishment for willfully doing these kinds of labors, which are shvus, forbidden by the law of the sages, who made this decree about them as a fence, a protective measure, is whiplashes of disobedience. About all these labors, we are adjured also in regard to our domestic animals. To tell a non-Jew to do some labor is forbidden by the law of the sages, and this is called shavus, literally abstaining. The Sabbath may be thrust aside and labor done when there is a danger to human life. The Sabbath is equal in importance to all the mitzvot, since it is a sign between the blessed Lord and the Jewish people. If someone violates the Sabbath willfully, flagrantly, he is like a heathen in every respect. The prophet, though, praises one who keeps the Sabbath, as scripture says, happy is the man that does this, that keeps the Sabbath from desecrating it. It applies in every place and time for both man and woman. All right, let me start by clarifying this idea of public desecration of Shabbos. Public desecration of Shabbos doesn't mean you did something outside of your home. It means publicly making it clear that you don't care about the Sabbath at all. The famous example is walking down the street smoking on the Sabbath. Okay, walking down a street filled with observant Jews and smoking, you're basically saying, I don't care about any of this. Okay, willful violation of doing a labor on the Sabbath in a fashion which isn't willful and showing disobedience is much less of a severe issue than described here. Should also be kept in mind that there's a big difference between Torah commandments and rabbinic commandments. So, for example, rabbinic commandments, it's much easier the circumstances under which you can ask a non-Jew to do something for you are much more lenient. Even in Torah commandments, there are situations where you can ask a non-Jew to do a labor for you. For example, if it benefits a large number of people, that's not the 6 people you have over for dinner, right? But in the congregation, for example, if the heat needs to be turned up or down, asking a non-Jew to do that is permissible because it is tzarchei rabbim, it is the needs of the public. So there are leniencies there as well. Again, there's a great deal of technicalities and things that are prohibited on the Sabbath, and we all do the best that we can to be observant of the Sabbath. Just again, I ask you to keep in mind that this idea that somehow or other public desecration of the Sabbath means that you went out in public on the Sabbath doing something in violation. That's not exactly right. It's really a question of public desecration in such a fashion where you are making it clear that you don't care that it's the Sabbath. Right? That's a much more stringent category. Okay, next time you ask, what will be next time? What negative commandment can we possibly have next time? It is a negative commandment not to go out on the Sabbath beyond the Sabbath limit. There's actually a maximum distance you can walk. I'll tell you a little bit of a story about Rikers Island. We'll have what to talk about. All right, that's next time. Thanks for being with us.